Happy Tuesday and welcome back to another edition of Learning LinkedIn Open to Work. I am the host, Matt Wolf, founder and CEO of Ticket Time Machine. A little bit of information about this event. We're going to be highlighting some great candidates who are out there and looking for work. If you're in the comments, please let us know if you're looking for work yourself, if you have any advice for our candidates or any questions for myself or anyone who does join the show. We have some slots open towards the end of the show. If you want to come on and highlight yourself, let us know. If not, we usually do this about once a month, and we'll be having another one next month. Quick disclaimer, I am not a professional HR person or attorney or anything like that. So anything that I say here is just advice that I've received from others and that I think is best practices. So please consult HR or attorneys if there's any kind of legal questions here. But we're going to get right to it and welcome our first guest, Nick Alley. Nick, welcome to the Open to Work session here. Tell everybody who you are, where you're at, what you've done, what you do, what you're looking for, and we'll go from there.
Sure. Thanks for having me, Matt. I really appreciate it. So as Matt already introduced me, my name is Nick Alley. I'm currently a music professional based in Boston, Massachusetts, but very willing to move around. Basically, what I've been doing in Mass is working for iHeartRadio and Live Nation, respectively. I started working in promotions, working for the street team of iHeartRadio, learning all the ins and outs of radio and just promotions in general. And that led to an opportunity at the House of Blues in Live Nation, in Boston, I should say. And it was an awesome opportunity. I got to be a VIP intern, learning how to upsell, create extra business revenue for VIP sales and all of that. And throughout my year that I was doing that, I was able to do some awesome things with both iHeart and Live Nation. With iHeart, I was able to go to the iHeart Radio Music Festival, in Las Vegas 2018. That also allowed me to get promoted in Live Nation as well. In Live Nation as well as the VIP coordinator there. So in addition to my duties of increasing revenue for the House of Blues in Boston, I was also overtaking any VIP experiences from artists as well. So anyone that was doing a meet and greet, a Q&A, sound check party, anything like that was all advanced to me from artist management teams. And I would be kind of the liaison between the House of Blues and the artists to make sure that all that was going pretty well and was running smoothly whenever they came. And that was my main two jobs that I was doing there. And then I was also freelancing festivals where I've been working Boston Calling, Lollapalooza, EDC Orlando, again, iHeartRadio Music Festival, been doing a plethora of different things in VIP experience, artist relations, merchandise, ticketing, whatever it is. Wear many hats as much as possible, for sure. And now with the pandemic happening, took a little step back, obviously, just with, state of the world. I think we all kind of did for a hot second. But now I'm trying to get back into that type of realm of the music world. I'd really like to start getting more into A&R, agent type of work, just anything of that sort, even promotions again, and the live experience that I was doing before. And yeah, I miss it. I need it back in my life. And I'm happy to see that things are moving towards a more positive realm. And any festival work as well. I love to freelance and be able to go travel to different places as well and just make connections wherever I can. So yeah, that's all about me.
Yeah, so COVID ended your stints with the freelance and with the House of Blues, correct?
Correct. I am back at iHeartRadio doing some street team things every now and then in Boston. And then I'm actually freelancing a few festivals come fall time. One of them being EDC Las Vegas and potentially Hard Summer in California.
Oh, so great. You have great experience with some big names in the music industry with iHeart and Live Nation and House of Blues, all very recognizable. And then some of the big festivals out there. It sounds like obviously you're open to moving, which is great. Location, you're open to the type of organization that you join. Are you leaning towards being more in the venue festival side, or now are you really looking to get into the agency personnel management side? Understanding that you're open, do you have a preference?
I think I wanted to go towards agent and A&R type of things. I have a lot of experience in the live event world, and I always will appreciate that. And I think that, any type of job, it was a great experience where, I'm a little bit more confident in myself, can really carry conversations, put out fires as they come. And I'm always going to love the festival world. One of my big dreams is to actually own a music festival of my own sometime down the line. So I'm still continuing to freelance, and I love the ability to do that on my own schedule. But in sense of agent and A&R work, I think that's kind of more of the realm that I would like to go down. Even marketing for artist and label would be a great opportunity for me.
Yeah, I know you and I are very active on LinkedIn and have had conversations. What have you found helpful in this time away for either just getting more visibility for yourself or getting more information about the industry and in the job search that might be helpful for some of our other candidates?
Sure. So whenever I tell people or people who are just coming out of school or looking to get into the industry, there's so many different ways that you can do it. And I've seen miracles happen where, it just takes the right amount of networking, being in the right spot at the right time. One of the big things I've been doing, at least from the pandemic, that has been huge, is joining Clubhouse. And I know you're on it, Matt. We've been in a few different meetings already. But one of my favorite stories, second meeting I was ever in, there was a woman there who, this was not specifically in the music industry, but an entertainment type of meeting. She was saying that she's been covering the Royals, the royal family for years, like kind of been doing that freelance wise. And in the same room, there was someone from London who was like, "Oh, I work for a magazine that covers the Royals. We should chat." And I'm like, that's insane to me. Like, it only takes putting yourself in the right situation for yourself to really find the right people that you need to be. And, that was 1 in a billion chance that was going to happen, but it happens. So I've been a big proponent of Clubhouse. I really love it. I've been trying to get some people who are trying to get onto it, invite to those type of things. And there's so many different avenues of it too. It's not just music related things, but big fan of it. I always recommend kind of checking out Facebook groups as well. I know that a lot of people like to network there. A lot of people can give just knowledge of what types of things that they're looking for work. BobNet was a huge one for me. I don't know if you're familiar with BobNet, Matt, but BobNet, it's a Facebook group for anyone who wants to tour specifically, live event ops people as well. There's an events ops collective, which is a great group to be a part of, but both of them are really focused on touring and big events. So I highly recommend if anyone wants to go on tour, they're always posting opportunities out there, kind of giving you a day-to-day of what to expect, what they're looking for, if they're looking for merch sellers or managers or truck drivers or companies to help with XYZ of the tour. Like, there's so many different things that they can all be a part of. So highly recommend Facebook.
BOBNET?
Yep, BobNet.
BobNet. All right, well,
and
there you go.
I think that there you go. Yeah. And I think there is a fee. It's like a $25 fee per year. But if you're somebody who wants to really get into that line of work, like, that'll pay for itself in one gig that you can do. And it's all over the place too. So I've seen stuff from my hometown in Boston. I've seen stuff in, somewhere in the middle of the country that I don't even know the name of, Arizona, California, like all your big places that you would expect, and everywhere in between. So any Facebook groups, Clubhouse, Back of the House newsletter has been a great one for me too. That's just kind of highlighting industry updates and sending out jobs that are coming out. Following you, Jen Corsilli, one of my main girls on LinkedIn, who's always posting stuff, has been great. And just don't be afraid to network. I feel like, you're going to get a million no's before you hear a yes. So it only takes the right, write one person that will help you out and give you the right contacts or tell you which way to go or whatever you're looking for. It takes a while, to say the least.
All great advice. BobNet, I put it in there. I don't know if someone can copy that and write it on LinkedIn, because my LinkedIn's not posting for comments while I'm doing that, but a great resource. Our Linda Beltran, who was on a panel of ours, has a Friends Helping Friends Find Work on Facebook. All the people that Nick mentioned, you could find them from our previous episodes at LALearningsession.com. All of them are great to follow. They are posting jobs like Jen and Blake Herder, Jill Haber, who's going to be on the show in a little bit, Brent McCreary, Lee Meltzer, Chris Moore, and Mark Goldberg. They're all listed on our previous episodes, and so definitely recommend connecting with them and asking. Ask people, connect, target people, target companies. To that end, do you have any specific companies that are on your radar that you would love to work for, that you've either reached out to or are trying to find someone? And by the way, I've actually talked to Kinsey, who's the royal lady, the one on Clubhouse. Oh. Trying to get her on the show, maybe soon. But yeah, she was all over it when I first joined.
Sure. As for agencies and A&R types of companies I want to work for, I have a few that I've looked into. I actually went to LA for the first time not too long ago and kind of did a little bit of scouting to just kind of learn myself, because that's not a totally new world for me, but something that I haven't stepped my foot in directly to. So like Paradigm was one that I was really interested in. Any of the big record labels would be great, but I also would totally be down to start small and just kind of help develop artists from the get-go. Think that would be awesome. In regards to anyone like who's trying to do the Live Nation type of thing or live event concert type of thing, definitely look into Live Nation. I always tell people to get a radio gig if they can, in the sense of working for promotions. I think that was the best thing I could have done for myself. I learned so many different things. They put me in so many different ways or opportunities where I could meet artists and agents and A&R people and big brand sponsorship people, and you're never not meeting somebody. So there's always somebody that you can make a connection with. I always try to recommend to get a business card, follow up that looks really good for the company as well. And I think that just goes a long way. So I highly recommend that. And then there's always subsidiaries of like Live Nation. Insomniac is one that I work with a lot for, like any EDM types of festivals. If Live Nation's not your gig, or you're looking just for live events in general, there's plenty others other than Live Nation. AEG, C3 is a good one. Tons of things, but
so many different companies, and they're all hiring. It's such a competitive landscape. It makes it difficult. As I mentioned, you have some great experience with some of the bigger names, and for VIP and events and touring, and all transferable for whatever it is you're going to want to do in music. What do you think is the most helpful skill that you've learned or experienced along the way that's going to help you for your next gig?
I think just being able to be resilient / malleable, ever-changing type of deals. Music industry, as we could see from COVID especially, that we got to adapt. We've always been resilient people. You're not working the 9 to 5. You might get in at like 3, and then you might work till 3 the next day. You might be camping out for a gig. You might be sleeping in your car for a gig. And just be ready for whatever throws, whatever comes at you. I've had some awesome things happen to me when I was just in the right spot, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess this is happening, and just kind of let it be. Sometimes you're the person that kind of is the catalyst for things to happen, which is great. And yeah, I think just being able to network also is the big thing. The more that you do it and more that you put yourself out there, it's going to go a long way. I know it's scary and hard and sucks to get rejected sometimes, but you're not always going to happen. There's good people out there who are willing to help you. Matt's Exhibit A right here. But I think that, just being able to network, be be okay with change and to just go with the punches and keep at it.
Yeah, it's I see a good gig in the near future for you with all this stuff that you do. I before you go, wanted you to just touch on your podcast. We always talk about staying busy and doing things while you're, in between jobs, or, and that's something that you're doing. It's music related.
Yep.
And certainly is going to help in the visibility and networking aspect for you. But just real quick, how did it come to be, and what are you hoping to achieve with it?
Sure. So yeah, I mean, it was kind of like a little bit of a passion project. Still do it actually, so it's still a passion project. But one of my employees, when I was at the House of Blues, I oversaw a team of 10 people, and it was anyone from like cocktail server, security guard, VIP host, anything like that. And we have a group chat that has been going on throughout all of quarantine to check in, see how everyone's doing. And one of my employees reached out and asked if anyone wanted to do a podcast, and I was like, sign me up, let's go. And a lot of it was so I could learn how to develop content in general, because we're obviously a very content driven world now. But also I want to make sure, like, if I can showcase what I've been following over the last year, what things to expect, just to show some expertise as well. And, just be able to have that as a professional type of thing that isn't just like a resume or a cover letter. I'm hoping it makes me stand out a little bit. You get to know a little bit more about my personality. And yeah, it's been going great so far. We're learning a lot. We always get to get creative what we talk about. There's always something happening in music, always. So
yeah, it's great. It's a great thing to do. It's great experience getting more information about an industry, to be more knowledgeable about it, where you can talk about things that aren't just the headlines that everyone sees and reaches out to. Is going to be very helpful with the people that you're networking with, maybe in a job interview, who knows? So, we always talk about doing stuff and staying busy and trying to figure out, what might be able to get you a leg up. I think, the podcast is, I love doing my podcast. It's fun, but I think there's also a lot of good that can come with it for your career and networking and all that. So, any last words about, what you can offer?
Yeah, I'm always willing to chat. I just know that I work with a lot of people who are trying to get into the industry, especially the live event / radio world, just because that's where I'm from. So if anyone who's listening or is trying to get into that world, always happy to chat, hop on a call. Don't be afraid to hit me up on LinkedIn, help my numbers up, all that jazz. But yeah, love to always chat. Feel free to reach out on whatever you can find me, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, whatever we're using nowadays. So yeah.
Yeah. So post your after you get off of this, just post your LinkedIn in the comments so people can click on it and connect with you. But great chatting with you. Look forward to seeing what the future holds, and I got a feeling that we'll be crossing paths in the near future.
Hell yeah. Thank you so much, Matt. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Nick. We're going to bring on our next candidate, which is Susan. Susan Gann. Susan, how are you?
Good, thanks, Matt. Thanks again for having me. And it was fun to listen to Nick and his story, and always love the entertainment world. So that was fun. Yeah.
Appreciate you coming on here. Speaking of podcasts, you and I had a little interview the other day, which is something that you do, obviously not necessarily related to anything, although it's related, but it's not a job or anything like that. So we'll start there. Tell everybody who you are, where you're at, what you're looking for, and then talk about the show that you do.
Sure, absolutely. So I like to say that I operate at the intersection of business and human behavior, because my background's in psychology and I've always applied that to business, starting my career working with CEOs and CFOs of middle market companies and helping them with their financing needs, and learned early on how lonely it gets at the top because the C-suite was sharing all their issues that they were having in their business. And I wanted to be able to impact those types of issues. So I decided to go to business school, to career change to consulting. Worked at the Small Business Development Center while I was at Wharton, helping startup companies and existing small businesses in the Philadelphia area, often who were in need of a turnaround, which was very impactful and also gratifying to be able to support these companies in their next stage of growth. And from there, I went to work for Ernst & Young in the New York City area, doing corporate finance consulting and strategy consulting. So I sold companies and got the opportunity to work on marketing and growth strategies for larger companies, and decided that while I love this work, I wanted to go deeper, and I didn't always have transparency into the next stage of what was happening with these companies. So I got an opportunity to then go to Wall Street and work in technology, even though I didn't have a formal technology background. And initially, I was hired by Merrill Lynch to work on developing a strategy, process, and tool set for how Merrill Lynch worked with its major technology vendors. And then from there, I got hired by the investment bank to be their eyes and ears in developing technology solutions to support their business. So working on things like a document management system and the client relationship management system. And then I got tasked with branding and automating how Merrill Lynch did its pitch books globally. And when I got handed this project, it had failed 8 times, and I was not going to be the 9th failure. And so I leaned on psychology to figure out, well, why did this initiative fail? And discovered that the stakeholders weren't involved from the beginning. So involved them early and often, implemented successfully, and wound up saving Merrill $12 million a year. And I went on to spend 7 years with Merrill Lynch, got recruited over to Credit Suisse, spent 3 years there, just something similar. And then the financial crisis happened in 2008 and 2009. And it was time for me to pivot and reinvent. And I wanted to leverage my background and work with business owners and individuals and do something a bit more life meaningful. And I'm very involved in the Financial Women's Association out of New York City, New York metro area. And my colleagues on the board, I was on the board at the time, suggested that I'd be very good at financial advisory work and planning. And so I went into that for the next 10 years and decided to focus my practice on women and women business owners, because I saw a disconnect in how the financial industry was speaking to women, and developed my own marketing materials and seminars and so forth. But a few years ago, when the Department of Labor came out with their fiduciary ruling, the company that I was with interpreted that ruling very conservatively and didn't allow for a time being individual marketing efforts. So I could no longer use those materials. And I started to notice that more legislation was coming down the pike, and more people were going online for their financial advisory and investment needs. So I decided to look at my next steps and decided to embrace all the things that I'm good at and love, which is around strategy and consulting and coaching and speaking, and decided to launch my own consulting firm as an interim step to my ultimate next steps. And I launched right before COVID hit. And you can imagine people were not spending dollars on consulting and coaching in the beginning. And so I decided to get very creative, kind of being inspired by TV journalists and late night talk show hosts who had access to technology that I had been using for a couple of years for some global work that I do, and got inspired to do a web show called REST, which stands for Resiliency and Empowerment Seminar Today, which I had the honor of interviewing you for. And REST is meant to do two things. One is to raise the profile of small, mid-sized businesses as well as nonprofits, talk about their missions and what they're doing and the individuals behind the missions. And then the other thing was to change the narrative in the pandemic to offer some words of positivity and how people can navigate through these challenges, because we've all experienced challenges in our life. And I think the pandemic has amplified it, but to know that there's an other side of these challenges. And so that's what I did to get creative during the pandemic and have an impact there. And now what I'm looking to do is to join an organization permanently to have a deeper impact. So I'm looking for an organization that's purpose-driven and mission-driven so that I can particularly have more of a social impact in the world, where their values are aligned, that diversity and inclusion is core to the organization, and where I'm working on key strategic initiatives such as, overseeing growth and change programs and initiatives.
Okay. So a lot of great experience here in the financial world and tech, really streamlining processes, and creating the material is not easy. So all stuff that you have experience with, and a company would be. Do you have a specific, because you're an executive, right? You're looking to be an executive. Really, I guess maybe narrow it down a little bit to the types of jobs and types of
Sure.
departments, really, and every company could possibly be a target for you, but which types of departments are you looking for to enter?
So it could look something like a chief of staff, more on the strategic side. It could be a chief strategy officer. It could be a strategy leader. It could be in the diversity and inclusion world as well. I've spent a number of years doing women's leadership work as well as overall diversity work in my leadership and board roles that I've had outside of my main profession. I've looked at even in the nonprofit space, a leadership role such as a CEO role for a nonprofit where the mission really speaks to me. So I'm really these days focused on, where are their values alignment? Yeah.
And there's also opportunity almost in the freelance world of a CEO or a CMO or chief strategy officer, where they don't have to bring you on full time, but you could do enough to help them in their role. But you might be able to do that for several companies because the cost of hiring you in a smaller role gives them financial flexibility, but also gives you the opportunity to work with different companies. Is that something that you've looked into? I know I've talked to a couple of people who are on the sort of, executive for hire.
Yes. So that's somewhat of what I'm doing now. What I'd like to do is do it more permanently for one company.
Latch on to a company. And I know you talked about some nonprofits and some financials. Is there any one that you've targeted or any type of industry that you've targeted specifically?
So I think what is a natural for me would be something in the financial technology world. I am in conversation with one organization that is financial technology with a purpose-driven mission around financial wellness. So that's something of interest to me, where I can bring all of my skill sets to bear. and there are companies like Bloomberg that would be interesting to me because they're, on the forefront of innovation and like that intersection of finance and technology.
What's been the biggest struggle in the job search world? I know a lot of people have been, you get frustrated. You see it often on LinkedIn, and it's certainly understandable. I think it's good to let out the frustration for a number of reasons. But has there been something that's been, more of a struggle than might be in other times?
I think I wouldn't call it a struggle, more of a challenge.
Yeah.
To reframe it is to figure out how to navigate to the people that you want to talk to. So there's a linkage between technology and then people. So putting it out there to different people, what you're looking for, and for my case, what I'm looking for, and then having them navigate me to different companies and different individuals has helped. And then using LinkedIn to make further connections and to see more background information on the people that I'm connecting with.
Okay. And what have you found that's been very useful in your job search and your networking that might be able to help some of the other candidates here who are looking for new things to do?
So I will echo what Nick was saying about being visible and putting yourself out there. I think doing something that's uncomfortable for you every day is how you get growth. So if it's reaching out to somebody that you think would be interesting to meet on LinkedIn, try doing a connection message and be authentic. Hey, it looks like you're doing the type of work that I would like to do. And I would love it if I could have 15 minutes of your time in the coming weeks and hear your story. And making it about the other person and really listening, I think is an important skill to have during these times.
I agree. It might be semantics, but someone who I have been networking with and done some of his events says, ask for advice instead of help. Everyone knows what it is. If someone's really interested, they're going to do it anyway, but maybe phrase it advice. I always say target, target, target. That speaks to what you're saying. Maybe it's a company, maybe it's an industry, maybe it's a job title. Any of those things are all good reasons to reach out to someone and connect with them to say, hey, I'm looking to get into the, director of marketing. That's a position I'm looking for. Would love to hear more about what your day-to-day stuff or any suggestions you might have. So it could be a company, it could be an industry, it could be an individual, it could be their job title. I think all of that is great advice to really just start connecting and ask. I mean, it's so competitive out there, and especially towards the top where, that's the type of job that you're looking for. And so it's competitive. You got to have a leg up, and everyone's out there. Not everyone. A lot of people are out there doing a lot of stuff like you with the REST program and some of the other networking stuff that you do. That's, you can't just sit around and wait. The days of that are over. It's not going to happen that way, I don't think. So, definitely think you're doing some great work. What skill do you think that you have? We talked about, streamlining. Is there another skill that you have that you think is pretty transferable for what you're looking for?
I think overall these days, I think it's very important to be high in emotional intelligence. Because I think that's a differentiator because you can't replicate that human experience, and to really take in different areas of feedback from your environment and then to propel it forward towards a strategy, towards the goals. But it starts with developing relationships with people and understanding what the organization's needs are. Some are stated and some are not stated, and to tease that out takes a special skill.
Yeah, I've seen a good amount of jobs, I think, that are in kind of in your wheelhouse. But have you talked to or thought about going to recruiters or placement agencies. My father was an executive recruiter for the Big Six back in the day. Is that something you've gone through, or?
So I'm developing more relationships now with recruiters.
Yeah.
As one aspect, and then it's my network of people sharing my story and having them brainstorm together about what are some possibilities. And I think the other thing these days is to be open to different possibilities.
Yeah, open is definitely good, because there's, everyone's willing to maybe give a little bit from what they want to get the job that they want or need. People taking jobs because they need a job, that takes a job opportunity away from someone else. So anything else you want to share with everyone before we bring on Jill?
So I would invite people to connect with me. It's Susan Gans. You'll see me as Susan Gans of Gans Strategic Solutions. I'm happy to share tips. I'm happy. I've mentored a number of people over the years, and happy to be a sounding board for the community.
Yep, that is great to hear. I'm going to put your stuff in the chat real quick, and then get off of there, because it sometimes gives an echo back. But we appreciate you coming on. Definitely connect with Susan. If there's anything I can do to help, or my network can do to help, let us know. And we look forward to hearing some good news in the near future.
Thank you so much, Matt. Really appreciate it.
Yeah,
appreciate what you're doing.
Great to chat again.
You're welcome. Bye for now.
Okay, Jill.
Hello.
Welcome, Jill. For those of you who don't know, Jill is my usual co-host for this event. She's actually the inspiration for all of this, and why we're doing what we're doing. And she's been, to say she's been ridiculously helpful to a lot of people who are looking for work is an understatement. All the while, Jill is looking for work herself. And it was just it didn't occur to me till the other day to say, why haven't we brought you on to talk about what you're doing with all the help that you've given other people? So here we are. You're a great candidate, and let's hear, for those who don't know who you are, hear a little bit more about who you are and what you're doing and what you're looking for.
Well, it probably didn't occur because I was freelancing for about 6 months. And so after I left the freelance job, So hi guys, not sure who's out there watching. So hello, as Matt said, I'm normally the co-host of these. And we decided that this was a good time for me to also talk about myself. So I have a marketing background. I'm in Los Angeles. Don't want to leave Los Angeles. However, I have opportunity. I've interviewed for opportunities outside of Los Angeles when they were amazing jobs that I couldn't get here. So looking to stay in LA. I am a marketing professional. My background is, I like to call it integrated marketing. So my background from going years back was experiential, which we all know as event marketing as well. And that was an industry that was decimated by the pandemic. I think I saw a number like 85 or 90% of the people who work in the experiential and event marketing industry were laid off or furloughed during the pandemic. So I, like so many others, was laid off. My company went from about 10 of 11 people to 2 people, including the owner. And, luckily for them, they're still having some success. But unfortunately, that left me without a job in April of 2020. At some point in time, my career kind of transitioned from experiential to what I like I said, like to call integrated marketing. So I've done everything from social media to marketing strategy to digital marketing to, oh gosh, you name it, done it. I used to rate radio ads back in the day. And so copywriting. So I kind of sit very nicely. My background, for the most part, is agency side. From an account director is sort of the group account director is kind of the last couple titles I've had. But on the flip side, I've also been called senior project manager at a couple of places. So sort of kind of always said I fit nicely in the center of the Venn diagram there. Back in the day when experiential was, the new cool hot thing that everybody wanted to do, it was the experiential agency sat in the middle of the what was only the ad agency at the time, and then the client. And so, kind of really figured out how to drive marketing programs forward, and how to take an idea and actually make it happen, and see, idea to fruition. So that's sort of where I kind of see where my sweet spot is from a marketing standpoint is anything from a project management and account director role. If I were to go onto the client side, which I've interviewed for a couple of roles, senior marketing manager, marketing director, those types of positions are what I'm looking for.
Yeah, talk about the industries that you've done and maybe that you're looking to do, because that's
so when I was young and in my 20s and living in New York City, I worked in the liquor and beer, adult beverage industry. Did a lot of that for about 12 years. Worked in the adult beverage industry. Also worked in automotive. So I have pretty significant background in both, not at the same time, as I like to say. So I've worked in automotive, worked in motorsports. Back in the day, I worked for Castrol Motor Oil, and I went from one of four people in a marketing department responsible for sponsorships to running the department when I was 24 years old, managing NHRA drag racing, WWE wrestling, NFL sponsorships, and then hopped over to the agency side from there. And then that's sort of where the adult beverage side came in. My most recent full-time role, not the freelance role, was actually health, wellness, and beauty. So kind of been all over the place as far as that goes. I have a big CPG background. I've had clients like Bayer Pharmaceuticals, Hershey's, Heineken. So I've done a lot on the CPG side. And then automotive, I've worked on Toyota, Mazda, Honda, Infiniti, Nissan. There's very few brands I haven't touched on the automotive side.
Have you heard of Talago Seltzer?
I haven't.
They're hiring. I think they're on the West Coast. I thought I might have sent it to you, but it might not have.
No, but you sent me the bitch and sauce one, which is hysterical because before bitch and sauce became a big brand out here, I literally was like, I'm the unofficial brand ambassador telling everyone to buy bitch and sauce.
Yeah, I mean, that's when you can find a product that you love, to be able to work, for it would be a great thing to have happen.
Mm-hmm.
What else have you done, during the search? Obviously, you freelanced. You were participating in this show. You were highlighting people. Those are some of the things that I think people know. But what are some advice you give to the people who are searching, for work? And it all started with you, like I said, just kind of it was a rant, right? You had
it was a rant that was like literally intended for like the 500 contacts I had at the time. I had gotten laid off. My car lease, it was 2020 and everything, just part of my French shit was hitting the fan left and right, right? My car lease was up, and it was going to be up in about 4 weeks at this point. And I got a call from the dealership. And, their job was to resell me a car. And in the middle of the pandemic, they're also not selling a lot of cars. And so she was lovely, but she was like, are you going to buy another car from us? And it was kind of the first time I had to tell somebody who was like outside my immediate family or my friend group that I didn't have a job. And I held it together, but I was like, I can't get another car from you. I drive a luxury automobile and I don't have a job. Like, you're not going to give me the loan. And it was like one of those moments where I was like, I'm going to have to reach into my savings to get a car. And now I have to tell somebody that I can't get a loan because I don't have a job. And it was embarrassing. And I got off the phone call and I don't know why, but I was like, I'm going to put this on LinkedIn. I think I'd posted on LinkedIn like 3 or 4 times in my life, aside from company business. And so I put it on LinkedIn, and I think I haven't looked at the post in a while. It's been about a year. I think it's got about 500,000 views. And somehow my LinkedIn just started blowing up from there. And it was mostly people saying, oh my God, I'm in the same position. But then what I realized, and I've told you this before, Matt, is that I was in a better position than a lot of other people. People were saying, my husband lost his job too, and we have 3 kids, or I need health insurance because I have a child who's got special needs, or things like that. And I was like, well, I'm single and I live by myself and I have a savings where I can afford to, not have a job. It's not something you want to touch, it's something you want for your retirement, but it's there and I don't have a job. So I was in a much better position than anybody else. And so that's sort of why I started kind of extending my network to other people by posting people and highlighting. Honestly, the only reason I stopped doing it at the time was because my freelance job that was only supposed to be 10 hours a week, it turned into way more than that. And I just didn't have the time to continue doing that. And so I'm no longer in that freelance role. It was only a 6-month contract. And then I was having back surgery. So we're back where my back feels great. I'm ready to go back to work again. So
ready to go. And, needing some help the same way everyone needs help, and in the same way that you've helped other people, which has been great. We have a real good community of people on here or looking to help. You were at the forefront of that, and from there we included people like Jen Corsilli and Lee Meltzer, and
potentially having lunch with Lee. He's in LA.
All of them. I mean, just again, go to lilearningsession.com, which is a website that Jill makes sure is updated. It has previous episodes on there. It has some.
I think the first, if people are really want to get something out of LinkedIn, I think it's really great for them to watch the first 2 that we did, especially the first one, because I think that those were a little bit structured, a little bit different. And there was a lot of good advice on basically how to maximize your LinkedIn, right? How to use LinkedIn appropriately and get what you want out of your networking with people you've never met.
Yeah, and this is great because we started doing slides, and then there was a lot of slides and Q&A. It's always hard to tell who's going to be in the audience anyway. So then we said, all right, well, why don't we actually bring people on so they could talk about it, and then afterwards we're going to share it with our networks, and hopefully everyone else shares it with their networks, and we can tag, hashtag for things that they're doing and looking for, and hashtag companies or even tag companies. So any targets for you that you have out there that you haven't gotten a chance to connect with or that are looking for? Anything?
Yeah, from a company standpoint, I'm really open. And there's a couple of reasons for that. I've been on the agency side. My last full-time role was neither agency nor sort of in-house. We are a much different type of company than anything I've ever worked for in the past. And so I would love to get back into the in-house side. But I'm also very open to being on the agency side. But I've had, the companies I've interviewed with, and since I've been unemployed, range from agency to a NASCAR team I'm really open to. I don't want to limit myself because there's so many. My personal feeling on it right now is that if I limit myself to a certain type of company or a certain type of brand or a certain type of agency, that I'm really kind of. I want to make sure that I'm stepping into a role that I can be at for a number of years, because if you do look at my resume, it looks like I've hopped around in the past couple of years, and it's not an intentional thing. There was a family illness in there. There was a lot of freelance roles in there. Obviously COVID. And so, excuse me. And so I would like to be somewhere that I feel is the right fit. And it's possible in the last job that I didn't get, the one I talked about a couple of weeks, was motorcycles. It's not, I don't ride motorcycles, but it was, in the motorcycle industry. And so that's not something I would have told you, come on here and told you I was targeting.
No, I get that. Any last advice for other people, or last words about what you have to offer and why we should come scoop you up real quick?
Yeah, I think there's 2 things. As far as advice goes, one of the things I really enjoyed about working on doing the highlighting people is that when you don't have a job, one of the things that sucks, and I think we all know this, is that you wake up every morning and you're like, what's my purpose today? What am I going to do today? Right. And so it kind of felt like, not just from being able to help other people, but it gave me like this is what I'm going to do while I'm up, when I wake up in the morning today, this is what I'm going to do. It gave me a very set structure, because I was posting using Hootsuite and it wasn't allowing me to tag people. So I was getting up at 6 o'clock every morning and tagging people. So it gave me an actual structure of my day. So I'm not telling everyone to do that, but find something that's going to give you a structure of your day, because it sort of makes you feel like your self-value isn't kind of disintegrating. It's keeping me abreast of things. One of the things I'm working on now, which hopefully I'll finish, I just keep getting interrupted by other things in life, is my Google Digital certification. And I've told a couple of people to go look at things like LinkedIn. LinkedIn's got a bunch of free courses. Coursera's got free courses. Google's got a ton of them. And so, doing things like that to keep your mind sharp has been helpful to me. So that would probably be my advice to other people, outside of sort of the LinkedIn world. I've got plenty of advice on LinkedIn. LinkedIn, I would say, don't be afraid to put yourself out there. I had somebody ask me last week if he should post in a group that I wasn't familiar with. And I said, I think you've answered your own question, right? So don't be afraid to put yourself out there. As far as my selling point, I really think that one of the things that sets me aside is I am not afraid to work hard, and I can do it from this higher strategic level. I can do it from a tactical level. I don't mind getting my hands, despite my long fingernails and pretty manicure, I don't mind getting my hands dirty. And I think that's one of the things that's really kind of kept me grounded over the past couple of years, is that I've been in higher roles that I've had to also dig in and get my hands dirty. And I love working with brands, and I love working with clients, and I love being strategic, but I also have that type A mind that can get tactical as well.
Yeah. I think it's, there's so many good candidates that we've had on the show, and you're no exception to that.
Yep. Susan was a hard one to follow.
Yeah. No, we keep getting great people who are out of work, and it's like, look, that just illustrates how hard it is out there, because there's people getting jobs ahead of these people who are great candidates in themselves, and you just got to keep thinking to yourself, it only takes one, and you hope to land in the right position for you, because you're looking for a career, not just the next stop, and you hope that you find something that you can add value to, and that really enhances your life and takes advantage of the skills that you have. So connect with Jill. She's going to probably take off, but join us for the next one as a host. Today we have her on as a candidate. Check out her LinkedIn, check out lilearningsession.com. And
I need to update, sorry.
It'll get updated. But after I reshare this and tag and all of that. So we're going to bring on our next candidate, Brian.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Matt.
And we wish you luck and hope to hear something good soon.
I hope so too. All right, guys. Take care.
Sure. And we're going to welcome Brian to the show. Brian, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. So
I apologize for the background. I had a veterinary emergency. I've been at a vet's office since 7 a.m., so I'm sorry that I'm not looking better and I'm sitting in a vehicle.
Look, we're here to the important thing is to talk about kind of what you're doing and what you're looking for. Nothing formal about this here. So tell everybody who you are and where you're at and kind of what you're looking for. I think there's kind of a theme today. If I remember correctly, we kind of got connected on another one of those sort of LinkedIn rants, right?
Yeah. So my name is Brian Horn. I'm in Utah. I am looking ideally for some kind of like a customer experience director role or VP role, where I can really set the tone and the standards for an organization to have great customer service, because that's my love and that's my passion. That's what I do the best, and so that's what I'm looking for.
And talk about some of the experience that you have in the past.
Well, I have over 18 years of professional management experience. I primarily was in the retail banking world and managed some of the largest, banks in the United States. But customer experience has always been at the core for me. I've attended 3 of the world's best customer development programs, so mainly Zappos School of Wow, the Disney Institute, the Ritz-Carlton Institute. I turned around and wrote 2 best-selling books on customer experience, which now become international bestsellers. I started a podcast interviewing some of the top CX professionals in the world. So it's easy to say that CX and customer experience is at the heart of everything that I do. I absolutely love it.
Yeah. So what's the difference between, in your eyes, the customer service person and the salesperson? Who I always say a salesperson is just a customer service person who makes calls and outreach or handles. What's your feeling on the matter?
No, I think that customer experience is very intertwined in now everything. People are looking for great experiences. They're looking for great interactions. They don't want to talk to a salesperson. They want to talk to a trusted friend. And consumers are very aware of their surroundings. And so um, when they know they're being sold something, they're just going to shut down. But when they're being advised and treated like a friend, as somebody that they can trust, then they're going to, open up a little bit more. So customer experience is an intrinsic part of daily business. You have to have great service, because if I can't trust you as an individual, why should I trust the product or service you're selling me? So there's got to be there has to be a major element of customer experience in that.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. So you're in Utah. Are you planted in Utah? Are you open to moving?
Open to moving. I ideally would like something remote. It is becoming very, very expensive here in Utah to live. So, and it's probably time for a change of scenery after 21 years of being here. But if the right opportunity was here in Utah, I would be open. But no, I'm definitely open. There's a lot of states I'd love to go to, like anywhere down south, or Texas, or Wyoming, Colorado, all beautiful places I would love to look at.
Yeah, that would be. I mean, you can move and work remote. That would be ideal, right? That'd be a win.
Correct.
A win-win. Customer experience, customer service. I mean, that could be for anyone. Every organization, every event, team, league, they all need that. Do you have an idea, and obviously understanding that you're open? Do you have a target industry or type of company?
No, I'm very open. I ideally would not like to be in auto or insurance. Those are the only two I would prefer not to be in. Those are not my passions, but other than that, and I wanted to specify that there is a big difference now in customer service and customer experience. Some people ask what the difference is. There's actually a very big difference. Customer service is the transactional side of interacting with a business. It's, I need a gallon of milk, so I go into a grocery store, get the milk, pay, and leave. I had a transaction. I had a need, and it was accomplished. Versus experience, where how did I feel about interacting with the business? What was it like for me emotionally to interact with the business? Was it something I'd want to go back and experience again? And I think a lot of companies have lost touch with that they focus more just on the transaction and on the product than the experience. And the science has clearly shown that customers now are experience-driven consumers. They want great experiences. They're actually willing to drive further, go farther, and pay more to get great experiences. So there's a real disconnect, I think, there. And there's something that companies are really lacking, and that is a great experience. And that's where I come in and can change that all around for you.
Yeah, I agree. I think, the customer, the fan, their experience needs to be taken into consideration more, because they might not stop, coming to your store or going to your events, but when you have that bad taste in your mouth or bad feeling, there might be other aspects that, maybe they're talking in a poor way about you, and, word of mouth, or maybe they do something, spend less money or go less. Some of that stuff you might not even be able to find out if you're not actively seeking that type of data. And then you got people who have data and they don't know how to use it, and have the right people there, but
that's a real issue too. Is companies are very metric driven, but they don't really do anything with the metrics. All you really need to do is read your social media posts, and you can see very well what kind of experience your customers are having. And customers will be very vocal on social media, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Yelp, and on Google. They'll be very vocal, and if you're not listening and not making process improvement changes, then what's the point? Of being and what's the point of having all those metrics if you're not going to listen and do anything with them?
Right, and it's always like you hear the negative a lot more than the positive, right? For every positive thing you hear, there's 3 or 4 negative things. Most people don't take to social media or contacting a company when something's great. It happens few and far between, but the negative things, which perception sometimes is greater than reality. So it's almost like even tying in PR to this to try and figure out how to handle that. One of the things that bothers me in a lot of cases is the liaison, whoever I'm talking to, whether it's customer service or management, they're taught to speak a certain way that has empathy, but it doesn't really get the job done. And I get aggravated talking to them, understanding it's not their fault that they can't help me, but I'd rather someone have some type of action than just, be nice. It's like that whole thing with like, you want your doctor to have a good bedside manner or be a good doctor.
Yeah.
Well, ideally you'd like to have both, but sometimes it's not, and I'd rather have someone know what they're doing than just be, have empathy.
Yeah. No, that's definitely true, and sadly, many organizations have really missed the mark. They have a message that they want to send, which is usually just like a cheesy tagline or slogan that they use, but they don't have a method or a practice to put that into place. So, for example, if my motto is, customers are my number one priority, but then I don't allow returns, I make it incredibly difficult to interact. I take 72 hours to respond to a basic inquiry. That isn't saying that my customer is number one. So we've really got to match the message with the method, and make sure that companies are delivering on their promises and on delivering on those commitments. Because then not only do you get a mixed message, but you start to really doubt, and it's like, well, no, these guys are lying to me. I'm not their number one priority. My dollar is. And that's where the bad experience really begins, is in your message versus your method.
Yeah. We talked about here on the show, we talked about like what works for you, what advice do you have, what have you been doing in the meantime, any information you can give about stuff that's worked for you or stuff that hasn't worked for you, that's frustrated you, that maybe you might have answers to, workarounds that helps other candidates?
I think what's frustrating is the entire hiring process. I believe it is incredibly broken. Now there's virtually no humanity left in human resources. There's Autobots are doing the screening now instead of people. I truly don't understand why it's so difficult to send a 30-second email to somebody just stating, here's why we chose somebody else. I'm tired of these automated responses that say, you're a very impressive candidate, however, or unfortunately we're going to go with people more in line. Well, if I met an impressive individual, I'd want to know more about them. I'd like to know how 18 years of management experience, the author of 2 international best-selling customer experience books, the host of a customer experience podcast, and attending 3 of the world's leading customer service development programs doesn't make me qualified. I'd really like to know.
Yeah.
But I know that it's because it's an Autobot and because they don't have the time or the patience or even the care to just send a personalized email. I'm tired, or I'm frustrated that many companies are looking for unicorns when they simply don't exist. They want 10 perfect attributes of a candidate, and when you have 9 out of the 10, they're going to focus on the one thing that you don't. Yeah. I would ask these people, first of all, who took a risk on you? You were probably maybe a 5 out of a 10, but somebody took a risk on you. Second, I would say, do you hold this much scrutiny when you say consider a political figure? Did Donald Trump meet all of your expectations? Does Joe Biden meet all your expectations? Does Hillary Clinton? No one is going to meet those qualifications, but you still vote for the person because you like the majority of what they have to say. That you see something that they offer, even though they don't check every box off your list. So why are employers holding the same, almost like Christ-like standard? Like, you want me to walk on water? Well, you're never going to find that guy. Yeah. So why are we holding to such these almost unrealistic expectations? So that's very frustrating.
Listen, I hold those same frustrations as with common courtesy about responding. Mm-hmm. Now I will defend them for a little bit, saying they're getting thousands and thousands. So maybe that initial one is hard to do. But if you've already had interaction with someone and you've invited them to a conversation and they're actively following up with you, then there's no excuse to not respond to that. It doesn't look good on you. It doesn't help the candidate. I mean, the candidate maybe did something in the interview that they don't even realize they're doing. There's all kinds of feedback that can be given, and maybe you're very qualified. There was just one person they thought was a better fit. That's fine, but I think giving feedback to the candidate is key. It's and it's something that needs to be done.
There's also this real problem right now of ghosting, and it just boggles my mind. So, for example, LinkedIn, you'll see all these posts, that you're tagged in, like, I am desperately searching for this particular position. I'm in need of somebody. Please DM me. Please message me. Please send me a comment. And I'll do that. I'll say, hey, I'm right here. I've DM'd you. I've emailed the person. I've DM'd the person. I've sent them a comment. And then no response. Or I had an instant where a local company here in Provo was like, we are just the best company to work for. Everyone loves us, and I love everybody. Please send me a DM. I sent a DM, said I would love to discuss an opportunity, and then I got blocked.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
no rhyme or reason behind this.
The hypocrisy of it all is what really just bothers me. I'm like, if I treated somebody like that, I'd be fired. But yet these people are getting paid to be mean to people. I'm like, maybe I should reconsider career paths, because if now you get paid to be mean to people,
people get rewarded for bad behavior. I wouldn't go that route. You stay doing your thing. Be true to yourself.
I just think it's frustrating, and it boggles my mind. But those are some of the frustrations I know that myself and many, many, many people have encountered.
We hear it time and time again, but I would tell you to just keep after what you're doing. Ask for help, which like you've done. Speak freely about the stuff that bothers you, and just keep after it. Anything we could do, we have a great network here that can help. Check out our previous episodes. We're happy to elevate you. We're going to share this again. Anything else you want people to know about about you and why they should hire you?
Yeah, so again, I apologize for the poor quality and for everything. Like I said, I've been up since 7 a.m. With a dog in surgery, so emergencies. So I apologize if I'm not totally there. But what I want people to know is that with me, you're going to get true authenticity. You're going to get professionalism. You're going to get someone who knows what they're talking about. Again, I stand behind the 2 best-selling books I've written. Obviously, the message has resonated with a lot of people. They agree with what I'm saying. And the process is work that I talk about. So if you are happy with the way things are, if you're happy with bad social media reviews, or if you're happy with just subpar sales and subpar service, then please do not hire me. I am not the guy you are looking for. But if you want to truly transform your culture, if you want to transform your business, if you want to transform the way that you are perceived and really refine that message, then please, I'd love to get in touch with you and learn about you, and you can learn about me and how we can together build a world-class customer-centric organization. Again, I'm very authentic. I just tell it as it is, but that doesn't mean I'm not respectful. I respect everybody. I appreciate everybody, and I do hope something happens very soon here, because it has been quite a long time. It's been 1.5 years for me that I've been unemployed. Except for some consulting work and just stuff to side hustles to stay alive. It's been a very long and difficult journey, and so I hope somebody will take a risk on me the way that somebody took a risk on them, and see that I'm not a risk. I'm actually a very good investment. And
chance. And we use the word chance instead of risk, but
true, yeah. So please take a chance on me. I'm fairly confident that your ROI will come back to you tenfold.
Great. We look forward to hearing some good news and helping any way we can. We put the link in the comments if you want to put some information in there when you're done. Maybe some links to the books that might be helpful. But we appreciate your time here. Good luck with the dog. That's family. Family comes first, and we hope to hear some good news soon. Have a great one. We're going to bring Jackson on.
Thanks, Matt. You have a great day, and thank you so much, everybody.
Thanks, Brian. Okay, Jackson.
Hey, Matt.
We're a little bit behind schedule here, but we're gonna give everyone ample time to highlight themselves. So
No worries.
Let's get right into it. Jackson, tell us who you are, where you're at, what you're doing, what you want to do.
Yeah, of course. So my name is Jackson Bull. I live in New York City. I've been working in the music industry for about 8 years now. Been at SiriusXM on the content creation side, producing music shows for an audience of over 30 million subscribers. And last year, a few months before the pandemic hit, I decided to switch careers. Was kind of itching to do something new, and so I decided to enroll in a data science program to really kind of harness my analytical skills and try and bring something new and that's constantly changing into the music industry, which is as we've seen in the past year, data has been incredibly important for for everyone, and particularly on the audience side, there's pretty much everything we do online. Everything we do is being tracked online, and so that's a huge opportunity for not only artists but brands to understand who their customers are, and so that's what I'm trying. That's what I'm been pivoting myself to is I bring that kind of interpersonal skills from working with artists and creatives, and be able to translate these complex ideas and these new technologies in a way that the average person can understand. So been lucky enough to been picking up some consulting work, but I'm kind of looking for the next big step in my career where I can apply these new skills on a bigger scale at a big company, where I can really kind of really soar in that respect.
So SiriusXM, obviously a big company in and of itself. Do you have a target in the type of music company or organization? Is it again? I always like to ask for targeted, even understanding that you're open and you don't want to limit. If you had your perfect scenario, do you have anything in mind about the company or the type of company? Obviously within the music world.
Yeah, I would love to work for a big label, like Warner or Sony, Universal, where I can, kind of help them, utilize data to kind of make better A&R decisions and really help their, their current roster, kind of, make better use of how they're connecting to their fans using their data. So I would love to work for a big record label like that. I'd also be open to working at a digital service provider like Spotify or Apple, where I can also use data to help create better content for their listeners.
Yeah, data is king, right? And I think that I used to work for LexisNexis. We were a big data company on the anti-money laundering side, but I think some of the big problems that I see in data is we have the wrong data. The data is bad data, and we don't even know what to do with the data, even if we have the data. So how do you help that? What experience do you have that would make you a great candidate to come in and turn that side of a company around?
Yeah, so I think there's a few things to that just because you have billions and billions of rows of data, that's not instant money in the bank. You really have to have a specific goal or question in mind that you want to use that data for, because I've been in situations before where I have valuable data, but as you dig in and start organizing all these data points, it's easy to get lost and lose track of what you're focusing on. And so and also you need to be flexible in terms of knowing, in terms of in terms of thinking outside of the box. And so I've been in, I've helped, one of the things I did at Sirius was I helped develop a new online feature for our mobile app, making our radio stations a little bit more personalized for our audience. And so I was able to kind of utilize our internal data that was kind of handcrafted and coded up by creative editorial people who are programming these stations, and be able to use that data to kind of repackage how the music was presented on these flagship channels, and just change it up in a way that you're still getting the same music, but it's curated in a unique way that provides a different experience for the users. For instance, like Hits One, like top 40 stations. There's a lot of different types of songs within that pop umbrella that you hear, but maybe you're about to go work out and you need, you still want to listen to top 40, but you don't want to listen to, some slow song like Driver's License by Olivia Rodrigo. You want the more up tempo, but also current. So, if you, organize and clean that data properly, then you can craft your message or your content a little bit more, targeted and cleanly.
Are there any skills, or not skills, programs or technical ability that helps in the line of work of data analytics? Obviously, there's human machine learning and AI and all that, but it's all operated by humans. So, any type of technical or program software that you are familiar with that would be helpful?
Yeah, one of the things that one of my skills is programming, and I know how to code in Python, and that makes kind of data wrangling and aggregation a lot easier, faster, and more efficient than Excel, which is still kind of the dominant tool that most companies use now to mess around with the data. But the problem with Excel is it's slow, and it doesn't handle big data. As soon as you deal with data sets more than 1 million rows, you start running into issues. And so there's open source Python packages out there called like Pandas, for instance, that serves the same purpose as Excel does, but it's able to handle the data in a much more efficient way and a lot faster. So I'm proficient in Python and Pandas and machine learning to do the more complicated kind of predictions and classification regression models. And I also, I'm also competent in HTML and CSS, so I can, design dashboards that stakeholders and business people can use to, actually interpret the data, which, I think is the most important skill to have, because there's, as I think a few people mentioned in this event, it doesn't matter how much data you have if you can't understand it or get insights from it, then it's a waste of time and money. So being able to I have those data visualization skills that make it much more interpretable for stakeholders.
Yeah. Oh, it helps the marketing teams and the sales teams.
Yeah,
and all of that.
exactly.
What advice can you give other job seekers? What's worked for you during the job search with regards to working or just keeping busy, keeping up on skills?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that helped me in my job search, and as soon as I started doing it, I started seeing huge results in terms of getting responses from companies and people wanting to network with me, and that's that's starting your own blog. I started it in January as a way to kind of further express my ideas uh, um, and just become a little bit more of a dynamic personality, because when putting yourself in on the recruiter's side, they're getting thousands and thousands of resumes every single day, and it's really hard to get her to communicate unique ideas on one sheet of paper. And so having a blog where I can express myself a little bit more freely and talk about new ideas that are in line with what's happening in my industry has really helped out. And it's called Bull Analytics. I'll post it in the comments later.
Anytime you can put content out there, whether it's a blog, even if it's just a post, it could be a podcast. You join a podcast. It's all going to help. It's going to help visibility. It's going to keep you sharp on the industry and the trends and what's going on. And I think it's only going to be positive for you.
Yeah, definitely. And I started it a few months ago, and I already have over 100 subscribers from a lot of different people in the music industry, just from posting on LinkedIn. And I've got a lot of responses from applying to companies that I didn't know anyone at. So that's had the biggest impact on my job search.
Great.
Because there's like you said, it's really competitive out there, and the more you can set yourself apart with your ideas and also I think a lot of companies really look for people who have a curiosity to learn more, even if you don't have the answers immediately, because most people don't, but having that drive to identify a problem, come up with a solution, and put in place a plan to answer that question or solve that problem. I think that's one of the most important characteristics that companies look for in a candidate.
I agree. Anything else you want to share with what you're looking for or what you offer before we bring on the next?
I'm looking for any opportunities as a data analyst or insights manager, in the entertainment field. If you're looking to use data to, kind of better understand who your audience is and how to market to them better, please reach out to me. I'd love to talk to you. And thanks again for having me on.
Yeah, appreciate it. I think you got, the stuff that you're doing and the skills that you have are going to translate well for whatever job you end up in. And we're going to do our best to help you out, me and my network. And we'll be sharing this and hashtagging and tagging. So keep an eye out for that. And
Great. Thank
please,
you.
let us know how everything goes, and hope to hear something good soon.
All right. Thanks, Matt.
All right. Take care. Okay. We are now, and she's been waiting very patiently. She joined us in the green room from the beginning, but welcome to the show. Tell everybody who you are and what you're doing and what you're looking for.
Sure. Yeah. First wanted to say thanks so much, Matt, for inviting me. And, Matt just reached out to me on LinkedIn, and really appreciate, taking the time to reach out and invite me to speaking here. And, it's personally been sort of invigorating just hearing from others in the same process right now. And, the mentality of like, we're all in this together. I think that definitely helps, especially in this sort of challenging and isolating time. So my background is in media, music, technology, all of that. When I look back on what's really motivated me through my career, I think it's really been being able to connect people, whether it's through music and music festivals, through technology, through experiential events, or other sorts of shared experiences. So I went to UCLA for undergrad and then worked at Insomniac Events after I graduated in their editorial division. And this was in 2013. So it was a really great time to be at the company because that was the year that they got bought by Live Nation. So I was there during the whole transition, going from this sort of, underground rave promoter to being part of this huge global company in Live Nation, and saw the growth of all these amazing, branches of EDC and all these other festivals that came about. And my role was really working in content marketing. So I was doing content creation around the shows and festivals and interviewing different fans, DJs, and artists that really encompassed electronic music culture. And after that job, I ended up moving to Qatar, where I worked for a theme park startup. And I really wanted to work abroad. And I figured, there's no time like the present. So I moved without a job and just started, cold reaching out to people, finding people on LinkedIn and emailing them, and really just trying to build a connection that way. And working for the theme park startup was, super interesting. This was a country that had never had a theme park before. So you can imagine, being in marketing, which was the division I was in, we had to first, go out and interview people, figure out what was the competitive landscape, what were consumers' sort of attitudes towards theme parks, and then eventually come up with the pricing and promotion plan. And on the side, I also managed a DJ when I was in Qatar. So always kind of felt that, itch to go back to music and be part of that scene. And, really interesting. First, my first role in music was more on the concert and promotion side. And then now it was on the management side. So totally different sort of way of working, but, definitely great to work one-on-one with an artist. And this was around the time when I decided to apply for business school and get my MBA. And my goal was always to stay in media and entertainment, and I wanted to expand beyond marketing and PR and also learn more about the finance and quantitative side of business. So that led me to Columbia, where I graduated from last year with my MBA. And since then, I was working for a company called Bulldog, which does premium live streaming. And that's how Matt and I connected. And they do a ton of great events for, top tier clients like Apple, Netflix, Spotify, TikTok. And my role there as head of strategy was really great because it was kind of all encompassing. So it was part marketing and PR. It was part mergers and acquisition and the financial side of the business. And then it was part business development and partnerships. And I really loved the variety of work that I had there. And working in live streaming during the pandemic was definitely, a great time to be there. Everything was changing so rapidly. And I think even now, companies and consumers are still trying to figure out what's the right fit in terms of where live streaming is going to be for artists and for, the music industry moving forward. And now, I'm kind of taking some time to sort of self-reflect, think about what do I want to do for this next stage, and definitely want to stay in the media and tech sector. I think for me, I'm either thinking of going more on a consulting or advisory basis to kind of round out my more in-house and operational experience that I've had from prior job experiences. And in terms of functional roles, I'm looking at things like strategy, partnerships, business development, and marketing. So something that's very people facing, where I'm working on lots of different projects at the same time and ultimately close to the consumer and bringing in new business. That's ideally where I'd like to land. And Matt posted my LinkedIn, happy to connect with anyone and also be a resource if I can help anyone in their job search.
Yeah, some really good experience there. Just a few questions. Was Bulldog downsizing because of the nature of live streaming and everything going maybe a little bit more to in person?
The company wasn't downsizing. If anything, live streaming was just growing, which is definitely a good problem to have.
Yeah.
So it was more kind of changes in the role, which was kind of what happened there. But the company itself, from what I know, is still the same size as when I was there.
Okay. Yeah, I reached out to Bulldog and you to follow up on some conversation we had, and then got in. She's no longer there, and so I reach out to LinkedIn, which is, I think, stuff that people need to do. When you find someone who's looking for work, it just seemed like a natural thing for me to say, hey, I do this thing. I see you're no longer there. Are you looking? Would you like to come on? And it's that kind of network that I've built that I think is it's going to be very helpful for people who are looking, such as yourself. And like you said at the beginning, just hearing other people's stories about. We try and say, hey, what works for you? What hasn't worked for you? What's frustrating? I know it's hard to talk about what's frustrating, and but I think it's good to get that out there so other people do understand that it's not just them. You hear success stories, so it's it only takes one, and just keep at it. And we've had so many new resources that some candidates and people in the comments have shared for job seekers, like bobnet.rocks, which is, I put in the thing, I've never heard of it before, but Nick had shared that. And so many good resources out there. Now is a good time to ask for what you want and ask for help. We always talk about targeting. So is there you talk about consulting, is there an industry? I know you say music and tech. Is there some type of company or organization, or even narrowing that down a little bit more? Again, obviously understanding that you're open and we don't want to pigeonhole anyone, but it's okay to just put it out there in the world for what you want. You never know who knows someone at that place who can help, or know someone who knows someone.
Yeah, definitely. So on the consulting side, ideally would like to stay in TMT, so technology, media, telecommunications. That practice, from people I've talked to, I've heard is growing at a lot of firms because there are so many media companies that are consolidating or looking to acquire other companies. And on the in-house sort of role, I'd love to be at a music tech company, so something like Apple Music, Amazon Music, something that touches a lot of consumers and I think is really shaping music consumption. I'd love to be in that kind of a company as well.
Yeah, a lot of good options out there. There's new technology companies emerging. It's the music business it's booming, but there's also room for these new startups, whether it's live streaming or just playlists, right? Spotify and all of those, how we consume the music. And then you got live events. All of your experience translates to any of those. So it's that's good for you moving forward. Anything that you've seen that's been helpful out there? I know it's kind of relatively new for you, right?
Yeah, I think I was going through this process last year also after I graduated in May, and I got my role at Bulldog in August. So I would say getting referrals is definitely important, especially in the types of industries that many of us are targeting, music, media. I've seen it make such a difference whether you get that first, shot at talking to the recruiter and just getting your foot in the recruiting process. So anytime you can, build a relationship and reach out to someone, is definitely very helpful. And I think just, tracking the news, seeing, what companies are expanding. There's a newsletter I follow called Music Business Worldwide, and they do a weekly newsletter of just jobs in the music industry. And this is from, Spotify, SoundCloud, Live Nation. They post from, the big dogs all the way to smaller boutique startups and niche companies, but they're all in the music industry and all very credible jobs from what I've seen. So that's another helpful resource. And personally, I just love reading about the industry and seeing, what's happening, what's out there, what spaces are growing. I'm personally really optimistic. The live industry is coming back. Everything that we've seen is, consumers are ready to get out there and buy concert tickets and, experience live music again. So I'm really optimistic about that. And on the streaming side also, we're seeing all of these catalogs getting bought. A lot of people are really, bullish on the growth of streaming and what that means. And, labels are now going public or getting acquired for really big numbers. So I'm really optimistic about where the industry is headed.
Yeah, I agree with all that. We put Music Business Worldwide up. Back of House Live, BOH Live is another great resource for the music industry. A lot of industry news. They have jobs, people who are highlighted. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but I highly recommend.
No, I haven't. I'm going to save that right now and subscribe.
Sign up for their newsletter, and they also do great webinars. They have Clubhouse events. I don't know if you're on Clubhouse or not. We have invites, and I know Nick talked about him having some invites available. So those are great resources. Appreciate you sharing the Music Business Worldwide. I think people in the music world looking for jobs or not looking for jobs will find it useful. Anything else you'd like to share about what you're looking for or what you offer?
I think, given that I've worked in so many facets of music and also globally, I think I have a really unique skill set when it comes to, working with different types of people and what I'd like to contribute to the team. And I have both a qualitative and quantitative sort of mindset. So, prior to business school, I was working a lot in marketing and PR and more on the communication side. And since then, I've gotten to work more on, finance, M&A type work. So I think having that sort of holistic experience is really helpful. And would love to connect with anyone, even if there isn't a specific role in mind, always happy to chat. And also, just wanted to ask you, Matt, like how things are going with you. How's everything at Ticket Time Machine? Right. I always thought the stuff you did was so cool, preserving concert tickets. And I think I told you before, as someone who's saved every ticket that they've, for a show they've been to, like I love doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I appreciate that. We're plugging along. We need some yeses, and you know how it is. Even from where you were at, it's like by the time we understand that what events going on, especially in like the live streaming world, you're so deep in the weeds of things, it's just hard to get. So we're working on 2022, keeping in mind that there's still opportunity this year. So many concerts and music events.
Many, yes, and they're all
live streams. They're all. I had to cancel 2 of them. I had to get refunds on 2 different festivals because I had 3 events on the same weekend. So it's going to get a little bit crazy, which I think lends itself well for the people who are looking for work because they're going to need help. They're going to get overwhelmed and they're going to need the support. And so I definitely think good things ahead for you. Very well-rounded background. Adding the MBA certainly is going to be helpful, with regards to expanding your knowledge and your abilities and your skills. So, we look forward to hearing you give us some good news soon, and definitely leverage our networks, use this as a resource. If anything I can do or my network can do to help, please let us know. Check out Back of House Live. I have some other, I think there's Music Biz Today is another one. I'll send it to you though in a message. I get a lot of newsletters. Some of them have the same things, but it's still worth doing it. It takes 5 minutes. You scroll through them, put them in a folder, click on the article, read it when you want, reach out to the people that you see there. I think a lot of good resources there. We're glad to have you on here. And I was sorry to hear that you weren't at the place that I was calling on, because I was looking forward to working with you. But I believe our paths will cross again soon, and wherever you get to. So looking forward to that. And again, appreciate your time. We're going to bring on Andy next.
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, talk to you soon. Thank you. Okay, Andy,
Hi.
how are you?
Pretty good. How are you doing?
Doing very well. Appreciate you coming here. We talked earlier about a theme with LinkedIn and me seeing posts out there that really resonate with me and get me thinking I want to help this person. And you're no exception. There was I found you on a LinkedIn post. That sort of shared your frustrations in the job search. Strangely enough, we're connected by a ton of people. You're down here in South Florida.
Yeah.
You worked at the places where I know plenty of people have worked in, and I was surprised that we weren't connected already, but glad to be connected with you now. So
Me too.
tell everybody who you are, where you're at, what you're looking for, and talk a little bit about your experience.
Sure. My name is Andy Friedlander. Prior to COVID, I spent the last 13 to 14 years in professional sports, in ticket operations, working for a few different NHL teams and one WNBA team. When COVID started last spring, they said there wouldn't be any changes until the summer. And as things were getting worse and more things were happening, I kind of knew what was going to happen come the end of June when the new budget was being prepared. So as a result of a COVID-related budget, my position was cut after 3 years there. And actually, that was my second stint with the team. I had been there 4.5 previously. And I had been out of work. I had interviewed with a few teams, mainly through Zoom interviews around the country. I came close to a couple positions, but I wasn't really sure that I wanted to move again. So it might have been a blessing in disguise not getting those. And then I was offered a job working for a ticket broker remotely about 8 weeks ago. And based upon how our initial conversation went through Zoom, I was a little hesitant. I didn't get the best feeling, but he offered me a job and I needed a job. And I always go gung-ho, doing everything I can to make it work. And this just did not. From day one, whether it be a Zoom call, a text, or a phone call, he would say, well, I'm trying to learn and I'm not going to overreact. I'm not going to panic, or I'm not going to overblow things. And that's what he always did. And in my LinkedIn post, which I'm shocked has been viewed over 8,000 times.
No, it's that type of stuff resonates with people. I appreciate you sharing it. It's not an easy story to share,
No,
right? But the support you got is probably a lot better than the negative.
for sure. There were no negative comments or reactions to it. I mean, I kind of became, like I said, his verbal punching bag. Sometimes he would praise me. Most times he would berate me, whether it be a call or text or Zoom.
Yeah.
It got to the point where, I was always nervous to answer because I didn't know which person I was going to get.
I think it's good that you left. That's the important thing, because plenty of people stay in jobs that are not good for a variety of reasons, and not healthy. It's not worth the money that you're going to get. Coming out here, you'll find a better position for you.
And I tried to stay. I really did. And then a week ago today, there was just a situation with accepting tickets, and I was trying to explain to him that certain tickets through Ticketmaster can only be accepted on your phone if they're mobile tickets. And he really didn't believe me or trust me. So he basically went on a tirade on me. And I've never raised my voice or spoken back to a boss in my life, but that time I did, just because how frustrated I was, because I'm trying to do everything I can for him, and yet he doesn't believe me or trust me, and I have 14 years experience, so what am I doing there trying to help him? And after that call, I felt like I was going to have a heart attack.
Nah.
And he called me about 10 minutes later saying that with a friend of his on the phone, and the friend of his confirmed that I was 100% correct. And then his whole demeanor changed, like, oh, I'm sorry, you're the man, this, that. But I was going to maybe stay, but everyone I talked to said I had no choice but to quit.
Yeah.
I mean, I
think you made the right decision. It actually brings up a good point with that's something that's frustrating for many people in the business world, or even the working world, is that you hire someone to do a job, you might as well trust what they're doing. That's why you hired them. So the micromanaging and the not giving people the benefit of the doubt and not letting them do exactly what you hired them to do, I think it's really silly.
Correct.
It's way more than you would expect it to happen. So we're glad that you got out, onward and upward.
For sure.
A few things here. You mentioned that you looked outside of South Florida. You're open to it, but it's not your preference is to stay remote and or in South Florida.
My preference would be either to stay in South Florida, or I'm happy to work remotely. During COVID last year, before the layoff, I was working remotely for the Florida Panthers. And sometimes I found myself even more productive, getting more stuff done without the distractions. Not that it's a distraction of being in an office.
I get it. We had there's research out there, and I talked to an old boss of mine when I asked him, how's everyone being productive at home? I said, the people who are productive in the office are going to be productive at home. The people who weren't productive in the office are going to, be lazy at home. And so I don't think everyone should be allowed to work remote if it allows for it. Obviously, sporting events, sports teams, certain people have to be at the event, at the arena. Working in the sports world, you worked for the Panthers. I think you also worked for was it the Hurricanes or the Dolphins?
Oh, not yet, but I've worked for the Panthers twice, actually, the Arizona Coyotes,
okay,
New Jersey Devils, and Chicago Sky.
Okay, I don't know why I thought. I think it's because I know Mackie Firestein was
yeah, I do.
Panthers, and also Brett Weisbrod. I knew them at the Panthers. That was back in the day.
Back in the Yormark days.
Yeah, and Eric Cussin, who is the founder of Same Here, which is a global mental health organization. He was with the Panthers.
I know Eric very well. He hired me twice, so.
Yeah, Eric's a good guy.
He is.
Knows a lot of people, so it might be worth reaching out to him and see who he knows and who he might be able to connect you with. Sports teams, that's, you're looking to stay within a sports team, professional or collegiate?
Maybe preferably, I would be open to doing other things that would utilize my skill set and where I feel like I can be an asset to an organization. Prior to this previous job, I was in the interview process with one with another team down here and one with the box office, and I took myself out of the running to accept that job. So it was one of those just unfortunate situations.
Yeah, it's you never know. You never know what's going to happen when you take a job, and they don't know what's going to happen with you.
No.
There's skin in the game on both sides. They're taking a chance on you. You're taking a chance on them. You hope that it works out. Whether you have no job and you find a job, whether you have a job and you're looking elsewhere, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. But it doesn't mean that you shouldn't at least explore it and take a peek and see what could happen. What are some of the skills that you have learned and acquired that you believe will be transferable, even if you left the sports team world?
I think with my background, especially in ticket operations, attention to detail is very important. I think it's an overlooked skill. I think just Excel. I'm not an expert, but I know how to do reports for finance. I know how to do formulas. Time management is another critical skill. In ticket operations, there's a lot of time sensitive projects and things that need to get done. So being on top of that, I was never micromanaged. I would be given an assignment or task by my director, and he would rely on me and count on me that I would get it done either by the deadline or more often before it needed to be done.
Yeah. If you were to leave sports teams, what industry or type of company or actual companies would be attractive to you?
I thought about finance, either finance, marketing, or advertising.
Any teams specifically? Not teams, companies specifically, or types of?
Not specific. I mean, I don't think I would want to work for a big company. I always like previously places I've been that have a family type atmosphere where everyone knows each other's names and everyone supports each other, and it's just a real cohesive unit.
Yeah, that's a good environment for sure. What have you done during the pandemic and while you were between jobs? Obviously, you did a little bit of freelancing, but what have you done to educate yourself, enhance your skills, and keep busy?
Keep busy. I'm not. You probably know a lot about being in tickets, about the sports card and ticket market, how much it exploded during COVID. I've been working with my collection and my uncle's collection to get cards graded, to sell them on eBay so that I can have money coming in. Since June of last year, I've become really into fitness and healthy eating, and I'm down close to 50 pounds from where I was a year ago.
Nice.
So it's become a pretty big passion of mine and something that will definitely be a part of my lifestyle going forward.
Do you collect tickets? Because tickets are every bit as good as the card market. Are you on Booger Stubs on Facebook?
I'm not. I wish I had ticket stubs because I know how they're becoming huge, especially a debut ticket or obviously an important event ticket. But I mean, yeah, I have a couple tickets at PSA now, but nothing that's going to bring in big money. One is from the 1990 All-Star Game, baseball.
Very nice. Yeah, it's good. Even just trying to, the card stuff. You think it's nothing to do with nothing, but there's research involved, right? There's negotiating, there's finance stuff, all kinds of speculating. So there's a lot of. It's not that easy to just go out there and sell cards. It's not.
No, it's not. You have to know. You really have to know what you're doing, and look at comparable prices on eBay.
Yeah.
You kind of have to have a good idea of what your cards are going to grade and if they're even worth sending in.
Yeah. It's crazy. The ticketing, cards, collectibles, we're all about the printed memory. So we're excited that people are excited about the a physical keepsake.
That's
what happens. Yeah.
Years ago I had lots of ticket stubs. I just don't know what happened to them. I wish I still had them.
I wish I had more than I have, and I have a ton. Nothing that's really worth some, just stuff that mean more to me than.
Yeah, it was more like when we lived in New Orleans growing up. We had Saints season tickets, and I had all the ticket stubs that I went to with my dad, but now I can't find them anywhere.
Yeah, maybe they'll turn up somewhere. Any resources that you can give for people that might not know about that could be useful in their job search?
Other than, I think everyone probably, if you're in sports, everyone knows about teamwork. I think Clubhouse is becoming a really important one.
Yeah.
Where you can reach out to different mentors and they can help you with your experience.
Yeah. Agreed.
And then in the past, I would always do my application on teamwork or whatever it might be, work in sports. And then I would, if I could, I would go to the team staff directory, see if I could determine who the position reported to, try and reach out to them on LinkedIn just to introduce myself, because persistence does go a long way.
Yeah, I agree. It's all good pointers and stuff that we recommend. If you go back and look at some of our previous episodes, which you can find on LI Learning, it's here. It's scrolling across lilearningsession.com. You'll see some good pointers and some good people to follow on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is very powerful in connecting and networking and finding jobs. We have people who are posting sports and entertainment jobs all the time. So check out our previous episodes, Andy. If you're not connected with all of these people, Doug Holtzman is putting sports jobs, and Brent McCreary. You'll follow it. Just you can check out. We're connected now. So take a look at my network. Take a look at the previous events. All those I think will be a good resource for you moving forward. And I look forward to you and I having a chat to see what we can come up with.
Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, appreciate
it. If anyone
it.
has any questions, feel free to contact me on LinkedIn.
Yeah,
I
put your profile in the comments here, and we'll see you soon and hope to hear something good.
Okay, stay safe.
All right, thanks, Andy.
Thank you. Okay.
Jessica, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great.
Good to see you.
Yeah, so Jessica and I mean, the power of LinkedIn. We connected on LinkedIn. She had joined one of our networking events that we did months ago, and now we finally got her on the show to talk about what she's looking for and what she does. So introduce yourself and tell everyone what you're doing and what you're looking for.
Yeah, hi. I'm Jess. I'm a music supervisor. I work in specifically, I've been working in the trailer and promo world for the past 8 years. So kind of that's where I'm a subject matter expert in trailers and promos, but I've been in the sync world for a while and in that sync space and connected to the sync community. And it's always something I always wanted to be in. It's an amazing space to be in. Obviously it's an enviable space because we are those, we are those people that you look at and make that music, put that music to picture. We are like those sound for picture people. And when you start to get connected in that world, you realize how much music is out there. And I kind of joke and say I professionally listen to music because that's kind of really what you do during the day. There's so much going on during a day, and that it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to kind of get anything done. Yeah, I mean, in the past, it's been. I've been lucky to be able to kind of stay connected to people, and through LinkedIn and conferences, like we kind of met at a conference and stuff like Clubhouse. You realize how many other people are out there who want to be in that space, or how much kind of that space can extend even further. Because I started dabbling in the music and tech world and seeing, how far beyond the trailer and promo world, I could really go, because there's trailers and promos and ads, which is amazing. And there's the TV and film world. And these are all amazing spaces full of amazingly talented people. But as you see music and tech really expand and become something that's just never going away and only improving and only elevating, it's just kind of platforms for musicians, platforms for music, where, what music can do and how kind of 360 it can be used. You start connecting with kind of more tech people, really. And so, I was just going on some conferences and seeing kind of where where it's going. That kind of got me really excited. It kind of got me to see, what's going on in the TikTok world, in the, the Spotify world, in the Instagram, Snapchat, Twitch world and all that stuff. And so, I was kind of trying to see how maybe I could dip my toe in there, carve a space out for myself in maybe those worlds, because it also it creates a lot of a question about clearances. And I think that's where a lot of conversations began when we go to those conferences and you go on platforms like Clubhouse. And that also became a little bit of an interest of mine on all right, well, this stuff isn't going away. And a lot of people kind of had a lot of questions about clearances. So I've definitely been looking for more music supervision work and applying a lot in companies and seeing what kind of space I can carve out in those spaces.
Was it the Music Tectonics that I met you at with Dimitri?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They got another.
Yeah.
Their conference is coming up. It's going to be virtual again. So I don't know if you're aware of it. But that's coming up soon. My dream job when I was just about graduating college was to work in movie promotions and trailers. And I didn't have an internship. My grades weren't spectacular. So and I was a little bit lazy, not to, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit lazy in the job search. And so I wasn't able to get that. And I kind of moved on from that, but I love the world of promotions and trailers and the way music connects to the movies. And there's so much involved behind the scenes. You can't just say, oh, this song would be great for that, because there's licensing rights, and this person might ask for 10 times the amount of money that this song is, and while you might like that one, it just doesn't make any sense to spend that money. So there's so much involved in it's really like anything. There's so many jobs out there that, and I think it was it Nick who said, or maybe it was, who the heck was it? Said if oh no, it was my guest on the show today, Adam Barron at the Delray Beach Open, was like, if you don't see any, if everything looks like it's running smoothly, then we're doing our jobs right. But there's so much that goes on behind the scenes of every job, whether it's a music licensing, putting on a festival, anything like that. And so you just don't understand. I never knew that there was a job of ticket printing.
Yeah, right.
Years ago, I got a job with a ticket printing company. You see it happen. You just assume. And then, everyone thinks Ticketmaster is a ticket company, but they're really a software company, and they get it from another company. So the reason I bring this up is just start researching out there. And once you start to go down a rabbit hole, when you start to look at those, the music business world online and Back of House Live, you start to find companies and job titles and industries and events and all types of things that you never even knew existed. So that's why you need to start, leveraging your resources, people and newsletters and conferences. They have networking stuff at the conferences. So it's, it's really important to do. What have you found that's been really successful? Obviously, you talk about Clubhouse. We met at a conference through a speed networking thing. I did a speed networking thing that you joined. Anything else that you've done that you might recommend?
Well, even on Clubhouse, I connected with a few people who created their own sync education club. It's called Control Clamp, so I'll give a little plug to them. It's like what is it? It's like CTRL, like the word control, like on the button, CTRL camp, and they're the fastest growing sync club on there. And so I've help admin with them sometimes, and they could do panels, and it's anybody who wants to get into sync or wants to become a music supervisor, and they do a lot of campfires or panels and bring people on, and then there's a lot of Q&A. So even for me, there's a lot of musicians who submit music, and I would never have heard this kind of stuff just kind of working with the people I usually work with, and so you kind of connect with a lot of people that way. And also they've brought on in people from different elements of the industry that I've haven't connected with before, networking wise, that I can keep in touch with. So that's kind of been great. And also, there was something else I was going to say. I mean, so yeah, besides Clubhouse, there's also been, well, when I remember it, I'll think about it. But like, that's been a really good one. And yeah, I'll think about it. If I remember, I'll think about it.
Okay. Well, if you think about it, you'll let us know. Obviously you're in the sync world in music and entertainment. Do you narrow it down? Anything that you're targeting or interested in doing or learning or trying?
I mean, yeah, it's. I mean, so yeah, I'm interested in kind of like the I guess just using the skill, like the sync, like that skill in other ways, you know, because you see how differently music can be used on these other platforms, right? So like, you know, you take a TikTok and you see how it's used like the creator is the music supervisor in a way, right? And it takes, for instance, in trailers, it's so hard to get something synced because it takes so many people to say yes to something in order for it to like come out into the world. Whereas something like, you know, a TikTok or a lot of these like short form video apps, it just takes that one person, and that's a different way of working with things. So you're kind of using the catalogs in a different way, and maybe using artists in a different way, and like connecting them in a different way. So it's a different way to use that skill. And also the industry is a little different. So and yeah, I think this is where I was kind of connecting, was like they use the words in a different way. They might not call it a supervisor. They're not calling it a music supervisor. They may be calling it like a creative sync manager or like an editor or curation specialist. And it's like, oh, basically like you're making a playlist, you know, playlist all day. You are making playlists and curating a catalog, and you're just using different words. So I think that's what other people might have to do, and their special, like whatever their field is understand that they might be using different kind of words to mean different things. And that's just kind of, you know, looking at that job description and taking their transferable skills, but realizing maybe you might have to tweak that word, you know, in a different way.
Yeah, that's a good point, because back in the day when I was searching for work, you'd look at the title and you'd be like, wow, that's not really for me. But they're calling things they have different names for things, like even just the sponsorship versus partnership type thing.
Yeah.
You know, marketing, sales, advertising, PR, you know, licensing, copyright, all that stuff.
Spotify calls them like catalog editors or something like that. And I'm like, that's making a playlist. That's like, you know, that's a curation specialist or a programmer for Amazon, but that's basically like a music supervisor, like making a playlist. So I'm like, it's the same skill set. You might have those skills. You just have to understand really what they're looking for.
Yeah, it's important to look further and just, you know, really expand your search with keywords, and then just reading it to be like, you know what, I can do this. My skills are transferable here, and not necessarily worry about what the title says, because they're using, you know, I used to work in recruitment advertising where we were writing these ads and job descriptions, and sometimes they're very vague on purpose, and sometimes they say things that, you know, it might appear that they're required, but they're not necessarily, because that type of candidate is going to be very hard to find. So if you have this, and this, and you're missing that, I think you still have a chance at getting a look. You said you went away to get tickets. What kind of tickets?
Yeah. So I wanted to show you that I've collected all my tickets since 2015. So I have like folders of, you know, all my ticket stubs.
You have a favorite?
I have favorite? I just, you know, I have stubs from 2015. I have all of them.
You got to start posting on post on my ticket stub Thursday is my music one. My music. Tickets
Yeah,
up
so
Tuesdays for sports.
So yeah, you said you have a where do you have that?
Well, online everywhere,
Okay.
LinkedIn and on my socials. Tickets up Tuesday. Today I posted an Olympic ticket. On Thursday we'll do a music ticket, and
Yeah.
we'll switch that up. I sent you back when Live Nation used to give you tickets.
Yeah.
I sent
nice.
you a family friend of mine who is in the licensing and sync world. I sent you her profile on LinkedIn. So reach out to her, and I think she'd be happy to have a quick conversation with you. And if she can help, give you some guidance, that would be great. So
right on.
Go look at that, and it's great to talk to you. Anything else you want to share with everyone before you bring on Brianna?
Yeah, it was cool to see so many people in the music world on here and talking about some great things. I think like everybody has some great things to say about like referrals and there's job sites. I think another great way to connect with people is just like when you see them on places like this and you want to connect with them. I think a really good tool is to just like message them and like tell them you saw them and like, hey, like, tell them you saw them, speak and talk about, mention something they said. And that's just like a really personal way to like connect with somebody, because a lot of it, especially the music industry, which is, very relationship based, and a lot of it's a vibe check. Most of my my jobs have kind of been a vibe check, and it's that's kind of just how you keep your relationships going, is to kind of just be a real person, as we like to say.
That's connecting. People want to help others. You can help other people. If you're both looking for work, you can brainstorm about what's good, what's bad. If you just found the job, you just never know who knows anyone. All these things can be helpful. And it's, we all need help to get where we're going. Everyone had someone take a chance on them at some point. And so it's important to help and to ask for help. And that's what we're all about here today. So hopefully we'll hear some good news from you soon. And
thanks for having me.
We look forward to
let's find our earplugs and go to shows again.
All right, I'm ready. I got some shows later this year, and it'll be fun.
All right, thanks for having me.
Thanks, Jess. We'll talk to you soon.
You too. Bye-bye.
Brianna.
Hello. How are you?
Doing great. Here's the theme of this episode is LinkedIn posts, and so we've had about 3 or 4 people that I've met through their LinkedIn posts. You are another one. The other day, you posted about your experience in trying to find an internship and how many interviews you went on and how many companies you have applied for, and you're here today without having been successful in any of that. And so we're here to find out a little bit more about who you are and what you're looking for, to see if we can't find someone to offer you an internship, or maybe start a connection for a job down the road.
Right. So right now I'm currently in school, in grad school for music business through Southern New Hampshire online. And so I want to eventually work in marketing, or events like touring and concerts and stuff like that. So I would say, especially during quarantine the past year, I've really been networking and connecting. I've been on different Zoom calls, and I just joined Clubhouse as well. So I've really been trying to connect, and I've noticed on certain calls that I've been on, I see some of the same people, so I noticed that a lot of people in music, it seems like a really not tight knit, but it seems like we all have the same goal here to help each other out.
Yeah, a lot of people are. You got to be careful, or at least be understanding that on Clubhouse, on LinkedIn, there are people who want to have the appearance of helping, but they're not really that interested in. Look, everyone has their thing. I get frustrated by it too. I'm not looking for work. I'm looking for help and partners and all of that, but it happens. But being in college and you're graduating. What year?
Yes. So I have about 6 months left, so it should be May of 2022.
Okay, great. And so have you had an internship before, or is this your first try at an internship?
So this is my first try in music, but I got my bachelor's degree in law enforcement. And
Oh.
so I did do an internship for a police department. So it's not my first time. So
And what made you want to switch?
well, it's really my passion. I realized I wasn't passionate about law enforcement from the beginning. I had been in band since middle school. I did band in college. I did marching band, and I feel like that's just where I need to be.
Yeah, I was going to say you're doing law enforcement for an undergrad. You got to be, really gung ho about it and all in on it. So
Yeah.
it's good to be able to figure out what and early to figure out what you want to do. So, look, the good news is you're going to get a job in music. That's what you want to do. You're heading in the right direction. You're doing the right things. The path that you're going to take for it, that's a little bit more uncertain. So don't let not getting an internship get you down. It's so competitive right now. It's a much different landscape than it was even a year or two ago
Hmm.
in that sense. And I think there is still opportunity for you to get an internship this summer, or maybe it's an internship right out of college. Which look, there's a lot of different theories on should I take an internship instead of a job, or an unpaid internship instead of a paid internship. I don't think there's a right answer there. I offer internships that are unpaid because I'm new, and I think that we offer really great opportunities for people who are wanting to get into the business world and the sports and entertainment, and depending on what you want to work on, maybe it's graphics or marketing. You could learn some new things. So now, taking an internship is a good opportunity to find out what you like and don't like. I mean, marketing is very, very vague. So you might find out you like this aspect of it. Maybe you like the social media part of it. Maybe you like the experiential part of it. Maybe you decide to go into sales. I mean, there's so many different ways that you can go. But what were some of the types of jobs and internships that you look for and companies that you were targeting?
Yeah, I can pull up a few here. A lot of them were social media. Um, let's see. Yes, it seemed like it was social media, marketing strategy. Um,
Any companies that you really had it in your heart to intern for?
I was looking at Sony and Spotify, but I knew that those would be extremely competitive, and I know with me not having experience, I knew I wouldn't be picked for those. But eventually, I think Spotify, I think that would be a good place for me.
Have you connected with anyone on Spotify?
I am connected with, I think, one or two people from Spotify, but I think the internship app had closed at that time, so it wasn't even up.
Yeah, I think one of the good things is connect with the people and the job titles. Maybe even if it's an intern, an intern at Spotify will give you an idea of how they got the job, what they did there, what the culture's like. Someone at Spotify that is in a marketing department say, look, I'm graduating soon. I'd love to work for Spotify. I would like to hear a little bit about the company and what they stand for and what the day-to-day activity is like and the culture is there. I think you have a unique position that people will want to help you because they understand you're trying to get into your career, and it's a little bit different than someone who's already in their career and trying to connect with you. I think they're more inclined to help someone who is an intern or a recent college graduate. I'm happy to help anyone, but there's certain people who are not, but maybe they'll be more inclined for that. So I think that's good. 6 months, do you have a plan? Obviously you're still looking. If you don't have a job, are you staying in the same location? Are you moving?
So yeah, I'm staying because I'm in school online and I do have a full-time job. It's just, not in the field that I want, but I am employed,
Okay.
thankfully. So I'll still be on LinkedIn, Clubhouse, wherever.
Okay.
that
And
I
where,
can
okay,
connect.
where are you physically located?
I'm in Chicago, the
Okay.
suburbs.
Very nice. Chicago. I had tickets to Riot Fest that I had to get a refund for because all these events all right up into another. Have you looked at the festival world?
I have, and I tried to volunteer for a few, or at least see if I could. Lollapalooza's coming back.
Yeah,
They do volunteers, but I have not seen it yet for this year.
yeah, I would go online. A lot of like street team, Nick. If you connect with Nick Alley, he might be able to give you some good ideas and information for getting, part of a street team for
Mhm.
bands that are involved with music or companies or festivals or venues. He might be able
What's
to,
his name?
Nick Alley, Nicholas Alley. He was on the. If you look in the comments, I
Oh,
believe.
okay.
Yeah, but he was on the show. He was the first candidate on today. But all of the people that we bring on and all the people that we have on as panelists in the previous episodes, definitely reach out with them. Christina, I don't know, did I send you Christine? I'm going to butcher her last name. Oh, man, I hate. Her name is Christine Osazua, and I'll send you her stuff. But she is posting about internships all the time, and she has all these jobs and internships that are posted. And Jen Corsilli as well, tons of jobs and internships posted. And I think one of the things that is very underrated in a job search is if you find a company that you like, but it's not the job that's for you, look deeper into that company. It might have a job opening. You might be able to connect with someone in a department that you want, so you have a leg up in finding out when a job might open up, or they can give you an idea of what's going on at the company. So the best advice I can give to you now is just target, connect, ask for conversations. Go on Clubhouse, go to conferences or watch webinars, join webinars and any networking events. A ton of resources that we talked about here. Back of House Live is great. I forget who gave us the music. I think it might have been Anum who gave us the Music Business Worldwide resource. So yeah, that's what I would recommend. Anything else you want to share about your job search and kind of what you're looking for and what you offer?
Well, I work as hard as I can in whatever job that I'm in. I'm just trying to get trying to get in that door and trying to get the experience that I need to eventually apply for the job that I want. So yeah, I think that's all that I have.
Yeah, I had the similar experience. Like it's tough to get that job without the experience, and how do you get
Mm-hmm.
the experience, without having a job? Somebody's got to take a chance on you to start. The journey, it might be different than you thought it was, but if you stay focused and you work hard and get the relationships and the network that you need, I think you'll get where you need to eventually. And maybe that means taking a job at a place that you wouldn't have expected to take, but it's in the music industry, and you make it happen from there. There's a lot of different paths to where you want to go, and it sounds like you're ahead of the game and in a good position for when it does. Don't let all of the intern rejection get to you. It's
No.
Everyone who's looking for work, it's just so a lot of cases just they're hiring one person or one intern or
Right.
thousands of people, and even if you're the second best out of that, it's you're out of the running, even though you're better than 99% of all the candidates out there. So understand your value and don't give into that, but also work at what you're doing and educate yourself a little bit more, which it sounds like you're doing through Clubhouse and a lot of these events. Leverage us and the resources and everyone else in the network who wants to help, and reach out anytime if we can help you. And I guess that's about it. I hope to hear some good congrats on your early congratulations on your graduation. It's a fun and exciting time. I remember it when I didn't want to go. When I was in school, I wanted to go in the working force, really bad. And then when I was out of work, I wanted to go back to school. So
Yeah.
enjoy the moment while you can. My friend says find a good headhunter. That might be a good idea to find some recruiters that might be helpful for you. There's tons of them on LinkedIn. I don't know that I have anyone necessarily in the music world, but if I think of it, I'll send it to you. But Christine is definitely someone. If you connect with one person, it would be Christine. I think
Okay.
I think I sent it to you in
Yes.
a message. So
Yes, I have it.
great to have you here. I was glad to have you as part of my network and to meet you, even though it was not under the best of circumstances. But we make lemonade out of lemons, and we go onward and upward. And appreciate your time here, and look forward to hearing some good stuff.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Brianna.
All right. Bye-bye.
Last but not least, we have Sunil.
Hey, Matt, how are you?
Doing great. Sunil, thanks for joining us today. Appreciate the patience. We went a little long.
No problem.
Wanted to make sure everyone got ample time to talk about what they're looking for.
Yeah.
So tell everybody who you are and what you're looking for, where you're at, what your experience is.
Sounds good. Yeah, my name is Sunil Sundraj. Oh, I got it. Sorry about this. Okay, there we go. Sorry about the interruption. No, my name is Sunil Sundraj. I'm here in Oradell, New Jersey, which is northern New Jersey, Bergen County. I've been a sports writer and reporter since 2014, covering minor league baseball, high school and college sports. Hoping to remain, said in that field, said as far as being a sports writer. And it's it's a very competitive field, but said again, just doing my best, writing every day, and I said recently been busy with covering NJIT baseball, which was in I said the NCAA tournament, so that was quite a bit. That was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah, they got a nice little program there.
Yeah,
I grew up in Central Jersey, and I actually went. There's a lot of minor league baseball teams now. Some new teams, some new blood. But I went to community college for a year and played at Brookdale, which had back in the day was winning national championships in baseball. So a lot of good baseball going on.
Yeah,
in Jersey. I actually have some baseball connections. I might be able to hook you up with just people involved in baseball. Yeah. And I don't know, we'll see about what it is. Where have you written before, and what are you hoping to do? Because writing is a little bit vague. Yeah. Also, there's so many different types of writing. And
I know. You know what I've incorporated since this pandemic, with the COVID-19 pandemic last year, conducting a lot of Zoom interviews. I started out with print and broadcast journalists, and then expanded to high school football players, especially the seniors, how they were coping with the whole pandemic, and then, with the season, not knowing if they were going to play. That was very fascinating, and I also got to interview coaches as well, head coaches. And that was just a tremendous, platform. And I've continued to do that, even, here with baseball. Now, the Somerset Patriots being the AA affiliate of the New York Yankees, I've been able to cover some of them. And for several years covered initially the Rockland Boulders, now the New York Boulders here. They played in the Can-Am League, and now, of course, in the Frontier League, and a partner of Major League Baseball. So those are the two teams that I've really focused in on as far as minor league baseball is concerned.
Yeah, my friend takes his son to the Patriots games. He's in Metuchen, so not that far away. Yeah. I'm actually going to be up in New Jersey, and we were looking at some minor league baseball games to go to, but I think there's one on Father's Day, but it's not.
And then they, of course, have what was used to be the Lakewood Blue Claws, now the Jersey Shore Blue Claws. So they play in Lakewood, and that's another destination, for people to go to, which is nice.
Have you talked or looked into hooking up with an actual team to be the reporter, or maybe even, creating content that's maybe not necessarily reporting, but it does leverage your writing skills and creative skills?
Yeah, I mean, I've incorporated, of course, video as well. At both, the Patriots and Boulders games, filming stuff, pre-game, said, which is really cool, and one of the sites I write for, the Everyday Fan Sports, which has been absolutely phenomenal. I've been writing for them since last year. They have really backed me up 100%. I mean, I got my start writing for a site called Double G Sports, which became In the Zone. But a couple other sites that really have been able to thrive in Global Women's Sports Radio, which of course focuses on women in sports. I've covered quite a bit here in terms of college. I said with NJIT, Seton Hall, Rutgers. I got to cover. I said the women's basketball team. Both at Rutgers and Seton Hall the last couple of years, which was nice. So, yeah.
Any targets for where you want to write? It's going to stay in sports? Obviously, you have the experience.
Yeah.
Does that mean you have to stay in the area if you want to work for any teams in the area or organizations, or is there opportunity to maybe travel and cover sports that way?
I mean, as far as maybe looking at another area, that might be tough because I have family. Wife has a good job here for 20 plus years in the area. My kids are well situated in their schools, so that might be difficult. I mean, if a position requires travel now with things opening up now, that I'm sure that wouldn't present a problem. But as far as transitioning to another area of the country, that I think might be an obstacle. But I have looked at the print, I said publications, but of course everything is going digital now. But I've there are a couple of places out there. I mean, of course, there's Bleacher Report, and you have ESPN, you have Fox Sports, but NBC Sports, of course, is up in Stamford, Connecticut. So that's a little bit of a hike. I mean, it's not that far, but when you factor in the commute time, it does add up. So there are a couple of places that I have. Sports Illustrated is another example. So I mean, there are places out there that I have applied to in the past.
All right, good.
Yeah.
What do you work for Everyday Sports? Anything else you're doing to sort of just hone your craft? Do you have a blog? I know you're on Twitter.
Yeah, I have my website, sunilsundaraj.com. I have that up and running. I pretty much, again, just writing for several sites, and I just keep on. I said right now I'm in the thick of it with baseball. Then once baseball wraps up, it'll be on to high school football. High school football has worked out very well. Actually, one of the sites I write for, njvarsityRivals.com, has been, again, another terrific, area I've been able to, again, flourish in. Heavily involved with high school football here in North Jersey, and have a lot of sites have picked up on what I've been able to do. I mean, I definitely have, again, kept myself very occupied when it comes to covering sports. I mean, you go from football to basketball, and then it's just year round, which is really good. So there's never a day off.
How'd you get into writing and knowing that you wanted to have writing be a profession?
Yeah, I mean, I said it goes back years ago, but attended and graduated from the Rand Paul College in New Jersey, in Mahwah, New Jersey. I actually journalism was my major. I wrote for the college newspaper, and I really wanted to follow that after I graduated, but it sort of fell off the cliff. And for a number of years, had moved around in some different circles as far as career wise, but nothing panned out. But back in 2013, I actually took a online course in PR and sports marketing through Sports Management Worldwide, and got to attend the NHL draft at Prudential Center in Newark. And the year following that, 2014, I got to write for an online sports site. And crazy stories. I was watching a World Cup party. I said at a sports bar, Miller's Ale House in Paramus, New Jersey, and actually had my pen and pad, and guy walked up to me and said, "Are you covering this match, with Team USA and Team Belgium?" I said, "Yeah." And so, look, I know this guy, Greg Snyder at Double G Sports. sending your stuff over, your writing samples and your resume. And 2 weeks later, I was coming to Rockland Boulders at then Provident Bank Park. So you never know where your opportunity is going to come knocking. And here, that was just really I lucked out, being in the perfect spot. And I haven't looked back since then.
Yeah, content is tough. I post content every day, and it's not easy. It takes a considerable amount of time, and that's for even on Twitter. It's like 140 characters.
I know. I've done a lot of feature articles. The feature articles also have worked out very well, and I actually recently started up. Patch Labs had an initiative where you could have your own, sort of blog, website. I've done that in my town, of Oradell, and covering some of the high schools, and we have 2 high schools here in the town, and one of them is right down the street from me, Riverdale, High School, and I've been able to, just covered, some of the high school, softball and baseball teams, so that worked out pretty well as well. The coaches really appreciated, the coverage as well as the players. So that's another, initiative I push, and I'm hoping to continue, once, school returns in the fall as well.
Yeah. What would your dream writing job be?
Oh, that's a good question. Of course, being here, we're right in the, it said, and probably the best part of the country, maybe the world, as far as sports is concerned, with all the major league teams. Of course, you would, love to cover, one of the professional teams, whether it be, the Yankees, the Mets, or, one of the football teams, the Giants or Jets. That would be, of course, fantastic. But again, it's a competitive field. That's what it comes down to. And that's why I sort of said to myself, maybe moving a little bit away from that area, maybe going into news as well. News, I think there's still an opportunity, maybe to advance in that field.
Yeah, I think entertainment too is good. It's very similar. They're intertwined with the sports world. So movies and music and art, and I don't know. I got stories you could write about the collectible market. Be happy to talk to you about that and get some ideas and material for stories that you could put out there. And other people who have done some good stories too, and interviewed for good stories, good subjects, good material. How do you search for work? What do you leverage? What resources do you use?
Yeah, there are a couple of them. They're workinsports.com, and then actually neojobs.com. And I've been part of that for a number of years. Actually, Mark Oppenheim, who's a dean at Hofstra University, he created Neo Jobs, and that has been. I've met a lot of good people through that. He's actually he sends out now practically every week now, like a number of job listings. Before the pandemic, they used to meet up once a month, at bars in New York City, and be able to network with other people in the media, industry. So that has been quite a bit. That has worked out very well. I try to, of course, LinkedIn, and then even on Twitter. I said it never stops. It's 24/7, 365 as far as being able to find, people in your own area, said as far as sports is concerned, and being able to, exchange ideas and network, said with fellow journalists. So I've been, and then of course meeting a lot of writers, said at the ballparks, at football fields. That's another way I've been able to do as well. But as far as the job search, it really comes down to, said there's also Patreon is out there.
My friend Brent is also a writer.
Okay.
And, he says, reach out to the editors of the magazines and the newspapers and send them some of your past writings. How do you spell? You said Meo Jobs. Is that M-I-O?
M-E-O. Yeah, it's all capital M-E-O jobs.com.
Put that in the comments for people who might not have heard of it.
Yeah. And for the people in sports, workinsports.com. So that's another one. Yeah.
I think, it's working sports and teamwork.
Yeah, teamwork is another one. Yes.
That's another one.
There's another one. I think it's called Openly jobs, or I forget. I just recently signed up for that. They send me job listings as well.
Yeah, we have, there's I subscribe to a ton of newsletters in the industry, music and sports, and almost all of them have job postings.
Mm-hmm.
So, I would start to just apply or subscribe to some industry. There's something called #sports.
Yes.
And N3XT sports, like next, but with a 3.
Okay.
The E. Sports Geek, The Athletic.
Mm-hmm.
There's just so many good resources out there that you can, I think, a couple of things. One, they're posting jobs.
Yeah.
And two, they have companies and leagues and teams and sports that you might never even have heard of.
Yeah.
And also people. So they highlighting people that I think could be good for you to connect with.
Yeah.
Based on the job that you're looking for. So tons of resources out there. Sounds like you got a good grasp of them. I'll send you some information on people I think might be worthy of connecting with.
All right. Sounds good.
And anything else you want to share about what you're looking for or what you offer?
No, I think that's pretty much it. I've kept a pretty straightforward blueprint on what I've been able to do, as far as just, again, keeping active. I said I don't think really taking a day off. That's the good thing, is that, you just keep on writing and keep on posting, I think the most important thing is getting your face out in front of the camera. Before I never did that. I never thought about that idea until last year. And then I, figured out, how to work, of course, Zoom, and, it said, and be able to just conduct these interviews, just being, and it just, again, I've gotten very comfortable with that. And so I've seen others do it as well, but I'm happy I was able to do that. And now, filming these, short video segments, and then really utilizing social media like Instagram. I never thought about Instagram before, and now posting my pictures, posting my videos, so other people can, see what I do as well. So I think spreading my wings across, the various, social media sites, I think has been very beneficial as well.
Yeah, just getting visibility.
Yes.
Out there, with video and online is always going to be great. Brent makes a good point. It's almost too late. Obviously, there's people getting jobs from job posts, but who do you know, who you're networking with? Let them know you're interested. And so when they do have a job that arises, they might come to you before they ever put it out there, or they'll give you a heads up that it's coming, and they might be able to give you some insight as to who you should be talking to, or who you need to reach out to. So great advice from Brent. Sunil, great to have you on here. I look forward to reading some of your stuff, and happy to help any way I can, whether it's if you want to interview me.
Okay.
People I know.
Hey, that would be terrific. I would. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah.
I'm open to help, and I got a ton of people behind me who are open to help. I'd like to think everyone who joined this show is open to help each other. So lean on each other, lean on us, lean on our resources. Ask for what you want. Target out there. Let it be known who you want to work for, and try and connect with the people that are associated with those jobs and those positions. Check out lilearningsession.com for our previous episodes. We're going to post this and hashtag and tag people, so we'll get you guys some more visibility, and hopefully other people will share it and comment and like. And we're hoping for good news in the near future from everyone. But if there's any way I can help, let me know. We're going to do another one of these next month for more people who are looking to work, and just get everybody back to work, and everybody help out as much as you can, and ask for help when you need it. Check out the Wolf Den. The rest of this week, we got some great episodes Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And that's it. We appreciate your time, and everyone come hire these great candidates.
Thank you, Matt.
Until next time, we'll see you.
Thank you. Take care.